Alright, what's up YouTube? It is Psychedelic Scizor, and I am here with my team builder for week 2 of the King UCL versus Russko. Um, this is actually, I really like this matchup. I wasn't sure when I saw it at first, but overall, I feel like I have the tools to. This team is more taking advantage of some of his more passive mons. Okay, here's his team. His team is right here. He's got Heatran, Tangrowth, Dragonite, Mega Blastoise, Cresselia, Mamoswine, Jolteon, Ambipom, Virizion, Archeops, Garbodor, and Leavanny. One thing you see right here, some mons like Tangrowth or Cresselia, and I'm namely talking about Cresselia when I'm talking about passiveness, those can kind of be taken advantage of. I feel like I have the answers because I feel like he doesn't have any really heavy hitters. Dragonite can set up, Blastoise is great coverage, and Mamoswine hits pretty hard, but aside from that, nothing hits really hard without setting up. Although I will say Leavanny's Sticky Web is a big problem. It's a very big problem. So I had to bring Hazard Removal. But here's the team I managed to come up with. One set I really liked right off the bat, that I feel like really takes advantage of his team is a Calm Mind Latios. This set is designed pretty much to take advantage of Cresselia and Heatran, but mostly Cresselia. Can also take advantage of Tangrowth that doesn't have knockoff. Although if I already have my item knocked off, then I can roost it off and I can Calm Mind on it. But Roost, Calm Mind, Dragon Pulse, Earthquake. Dragon Pulse I'm going to be using most of the time because he doesn't have a fairy type. And Earthquake is just for Heatran. That's it. I don't really need the attack investment. I don't want to lower my defense because I still want to be able to take a hit and set up. But this set pretty well sweeps his team if I get a couple Calm Minds up. It outspeeds everything on his team outside of Ambipom and Jolteon. And Ambipom isn't very strong, and Jolteon can't beat me with once I start setting up Calm Minds. Even Signal Beam isn't going to do that much. Next is a really good wall breaker for Latios is Emboar. I give it Charcoal instead of Life Orb just because I'm going to be clicking Flare Blitz a lot, and with Life Orb, it can really just wear this thing down so fast. So we'll with Charcoal, because everything else doesn't really need the boost, but Flare Blitz, it needs some kind of boost, because I did a calc at +2. If Stealth Rocks are up, it is an 87% chance to Oko Cresselia. So this thing probably wants to bait in a physically defensive Cresselia, and if I start setting up with Bulk Up, that can take advantage of it pretty well. Hammer Arm is some good overall coverage. It hits things that aren't Cresselia. And Stone Edge is primarily just for, what is it for? Dragonite. Yeah, because it resists both my stabs. And this just blows it back. Blows it back. And Emboar hits pretty hard. It's really hard to wall. It's also got some nice bulk. This bulk outspeeds an uninvested Heatran, so like a more defensive Heatran. It also kind of speed creeps it a little bit in case he creeps up a couple points. But I'm actually going to invest just a little bit more. That's an odd number. Yeah, just a little bit more. But this outspeeds a speed crept, basically uninvested Heatran. Because this thing mostly is going to be able to just take a hit because it's so bulky and then deal a much bigger one back. Next is my rocks, and a nice pivot is Cobalion with enough speed to always outspeed a max speed Timid or Jolly Leavanny. Stealth Rock, Volt Switch, Close Combat, Taunt. Obviously it's my rocker. Volt Switch is nice for pivoting, also nice for Mega Blastoise. Close Combat hits a lot of things on the team, pretty much everything. And Taunt is for Leavanny. If he brings Leavanny, I'm almost certainly going to lead off Cobalion, and if I have to, I'm going to Volt Switch out of there. But Taunt, I don't want Sticky Webs to get up. I have ways of removing them, but I still don't want them to get up in the first place because it's going to pressure Excadrill to come in a lot. And yeah, it's mostly just enough speed, and then the rest dumped into defense. This is a good mon, though. It's very physically bulky, yet also extremely fast, you know. doesn't hit the hardest, but with stab close combat, that base power is going to make up for it. Next is a specially defensive Rotom with fairly standard, except for the hidden power. It's Volt Switch, Will-O-Wisp, Hidden Power Ground, and Leaf Storm with a Yachi Berry. The Yachi Berries take an Ice Beam from a Mega Blastoise and then hit it back with a Leaf Storm. This speed outspeeds a max speed modest Heatran, and then hits it with Hidden Power Ground. If it's timid, it's not going to be able to hit me quite as hard. Really, if it's timid, though, it's not a problem because that means it doesn't have many defensive EVs, and I can really take advantage of it with Emboar or Beedrill, so I'm not quite as worried about this thing taking on Heatran. Although being able to outspeed it is nice so the Heatran doesn't just come in every time for free. Will-O-Wisp is going to be nice to spread around because his team could use some wearing down. Mega Blastoise especially hates Will-O-Wisp, especially because this is still a Gen 6 league. Next is Hazard Removal in Dig Dug the Excadrill. This coverage is... Okay, this is set to outspeed a max speed timid Heatran. I based a lot of it around Heatran. That's just kind of the speed tiers that I'm at, It's a pretty middle ground, good thing to outspeed. Rapid Spin, Earthquake, Rock Slide, X Scissor with an Aqua Berry. This coverage hits pretty much everything. Rapid Spin is going to be this thing's primary job. Earthquake hits most things. Rock Slide hits Dragonite. And X Scissor hits Tangrowth. And it hits Cresselia slightly harder than Earthquake. Not very much, though. This thing is going to be a nice bulky attacker. Aqua Berry to take a hit from Heatran, so I can kind of switch that in there sort of fearlessly. I still don't want to just pop this for no reason, but the Aqua Berry is going to be nice. I just hope I don't get burned by Lava Bloom. And finally, I'm going to bring this for the second week in a row. I don't know how it does the first week, because I haven't done my first week's battle at the time of recording this, but Defensive Stoutland. I forgot to put the nickname on you. Old Yeller. Physically defensive Stoutland, really, if you look at the stats, it actually makes sense with Intimidate, but it really just puts in good work. This thing is probably my best check to Mamoswine defensively, other than Emboar. Emboar is weak to Earthquake. This is probably giving my team... Yeah, it's probably the best other than Jellicent, but I really didn't want to bring Jellicent because he has a bunch of grass types that can take advantage of it. Tangrowth can come in pretty much for free. Virizion can set up on it for free. Even Leavanny can come in and hit it kind of hard. And even Mega Blastoise and Dark Pulse, so there's just too many things that can take advantage of Jellicent, in my opinion, on his team. So, my best answer, it still provides some good offensive pressure, is Stoutland. Superpower is primarily for hitting the Mamoswine very hard. Return is nice stab. Ice Fang is for Dragonite. And Toxic is just for pretty much everything else. Cresselia, because Stoutland can't hit it very hard with Crunch. And just max defense, a little tiny bit in attack. This, in theory, in team building, I really like defensive Stoutland. I don't know why. I didn't expect it when I drafted it, but if you look at the stats, it kind of makes sense. It's overall pretty bulky, and when you add Intimidate on top of that, that's what makes it able to take the hits. Its stats itself aren't excellent, but if you look at it, Landorus still has some better stats, but look at Landorus. Actually, Landorus only has 4 more base hit points than Stoutland. Now, granted, Landorus also has more things going for it. It's a better defensive typing, and it hits even harder. 145 base attack, and it's a little faster. But I got this thing as the last pick in my draft, whereas Landorus is usually in the first few rounds. So it only has 4 more base hit points. So with Intimidate, this thing can take hits like neutral hits, like a Landorus can. And because it doesn't have as many weaknesses, it's pretty good, actually. Pretty good. And this is a team I really, really like my matchup. I just wish I could come up with a nickname for Rotom. I'll come up with something eventually. But this match hopefully should go up soon. I don't think it is. I'm having trouble getting people to actually battle me. I've been waiting for several days in both my leagues for battles to happen, and it's just not happening. But I really enjoy this matchup, and I'm excited to play this. This is another one of those matches I just feel comfortable going in because I feel like I have answers to pretty much everything. Good offensive pressure. Everything here provides offensive pressure as well as being defensive. That's what I really like about this. Alright, well, if you guys like what you saw, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and do whatever the hell it is you do with YouTube videos. And I'm going to get out of here and see you guys later.